Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, so the folks at Freewell were kind enough to send me an all-day 8-pack filter set for the Mavic Air 2. So I thought I would take the opportunity to open this box up, show you what's inside, and maybe talk about these filters a little bit. And we can even then maybe demonstrate how to get the filter on and off of the Mavic Air 2. It's a little different than the Mavic Mini, where it just clipped over the top. So this has actually got a twist on the front of the lens here. So let's quit messing around. Let's get this box open. Okay, so I finally got the box open on the Freewell all-day 8-pack filters for the DJI Mavic Air 2. Let me show you what was in that box. So here is the filters themselves, but what we don't want to forget is they include a package of documentation. I looked that over. It's pretty handy. It tells you how to install the filters on the drone itself and gives you guidelines on what filter to use in what kind of light, etc. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty handy little package of filters here. Probably cover most use cases you would ever run into. So again, from the top left, and we're going to move right, we've got the ND4, and we've got the ND8, then an ND16, and then we have a clear polarizer. And then on the bottom row, we've got an ND8 with polarizer, an ND16 with polarizer, ND32 with polarizer, and finally, for very, very bright conditions, an ND64 with polarizer. So let's show how you mount those on the drone now. So I've got my wife Sarah helping me out here. She's holding the drone so that I can demonstrate this. So to put the filter on there, it's simply a twist. So there's a frame over the lens of the camera on the Mavic Air 2 already, and you simply twist that frame to counterclockwise, and off it comes. And it's just a clear frame. There's nothing in the frame itself. But then the filter goes on the same way that frame came off. So I just simply put it in there, and then I click it clockwise, and that's all there is to it. That the filter is then on the drone. So pretty handy and a heck of a lot easier than what we saw with the Mavic Mini. So I like the way they do that. So one more thing that I wanted to show you was kind of give you an idea of how you adjust the polarizer. If you can see that little white line on the red ring, you can use that as a guide for where you've got it on there. And you simply turn this ring and you move it to the point that the sky is bluest. In other words, you have it mounted on your drone, have the drone pointed at the sky. When you get dark blue, you know that you have that polarizer adjusted correctly to polarize the light. So a little bit of an explanation on how you use ND filters, what they're for, and which filter to use on what day. And listen, I am not an expert photographer, but I have picked up a little bit in flying drones and talking to other people like my friend Ron Brown. But mostly, so this ND4, that would be, you could use that potentially on a cloudier day, and then you move up to as the sunlight gets brighter, ND8, probably a partly cloudy day, ND16 in fairly bright sunlight. And then, you know, when you get up to the 32 and the 64, those are going to be for very, very bright days. I would say the 64 if you were shooting probably directly into the sun. So what is the purpose of an ND filter to begin with? A lot of people think about it like it's sunglasses for your drone, and I guess it kind of is, but what the point of it is to induce motion blur into your video. And I'm speaking for video. I'm sure the photography guys probably have other uses, but for being able to get blur in water and things like that. And I suppose it would be the same for video. But your human eye naturally sees a little bit of motion blur. When a car drives by or somebody running, there's a little bit of blur, and that is what it achieves. If you don't have a filter, the shutter speed gets so high that it essentially is a freeze frame and doesn't look natural. So the ND filter is trying to get you back to that natural state. And the way that is done, there's a rule, and the rule states that, say you're shooting in 30 frames per second, which is typically how I shoot. I want to double the that number for the shutter speed. So if I'm shooting in 30 frames per second, my goal is to get that shutter speed at a 60th of a second, and that would give me the type of motion blur that I'm looking for. If it was, say, at 120th or faster than that, that's going to freeze frame and not look natural. So that is the point of that. Again, I guess if you were shooting at 60 frames per second, you would try and get your shutter speed at 1/20th of a second to get that motion blur. Then the polarizers are a whole nother game in and of themselves. The polarizers are used to reduce glare. So you're going to use that more often shooting over water. You know, we've seen a lot of dramatic drone footage of people shooting whales or something in the ocean. Well, often if you've got sun glare on the water, you're not going to be able to see into the water. So that's what the polarizer will do for you. It'll reduce that glare so you can see what's under the water, or if you're shooting through glass or something like that. So that is, it also is said to, and it does actually, gives you deeper blues, and on a cloudy day, it can bring the clouds out much more dramatically in the sky. So that is why you're using these filters. And I think it's pretty cool that they include a polarizer with the ND filters on that bottom row. So that would be a handy way to do it. So you're achieving both the motion blur and reducing glare all in one shot. So there it is. There is the Freewell all-day 8-pack for the DJI Mavic Air 2. I will put my Amazon affiliate link down below if you wish to buy a set for yourself. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this short video. And hey, we will absolutely see you on the next one. The Mavic Air 2 and the Freewell all-day 8-pack of ND filters. Bye now.